Three, two, one. Greetings and welcome to another excellent chess training video. So, how's chess going for you? Well, I obviously can't hear you reply, but for me, let me tell you, I get better every day. Now, I only get better this much every day, but it adds up. You see a lot of those videos that I have, and whenever I have some good games, I post those on there. You can't do that fake. Well, I mean, I guess you could if you cheated, but you'd be banned, blah, 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 etc., etc. And I don't play, when I do those game reviews, you know that it's real, because no one's going to play that when they have access to a cheating computer. That's how you know. But, you know, it's all right. So let's go and take care of some business. Let's see what we can do. Well, what is he threatening to us? Nothing. What do we have? 3 minor pieces. We're exchanged down. So, what do we see here? Well, we have a couple of different things going on. We have bishop takes rook threat, bishop takes knight threat. One is going to be better than the other. The secret is, how do you know? The answer is, you cheat and use a computer. I'm just kidding. I just had to throw that in there. Well, that's how some people do it. So let's look at the obvious stuff. So now the sequence here is that, to me, the most obvious moves to play. Oh man, that's nasty. Is bishop takes knight or bishop takes rook. And then I was looking at this. This is another nasty move. Knight to d3. Why is that move so nasty, sir? Well, I'm threatening to do this check. I guess it doesn't work. I knew it didn't work. The stupid thing didn't unclick the knight. But this is not going to work because he would simply play. The threat of knight d3 was that you'd have bishop takes knight, queen takes, and then fork. But that's stupid because he's not going to let you do that. If you played knight to d3, threatening this, even if you did play bishop takes knight, he would just go rook takes your knight, and your whole thing is completely done. So I was showing you a move that didn't work, and then by accidentally clicking, you saw the X. It doesn't work. Okay, but it was slightly interesting. But as my dad would say, don't get fancy. All right, so that doesn't work. So we need to pick one. I'm just going to pick. Let's pick bishop takes rook. Let's go. We play bishop takes rook. Now, what he's going to do, he can do 2 recaptures, obviously. He can play knight takes bishop or queen takes bishop. Now, if he plays queen takes bishop, double question mark, we fork him with knight to c2. All right? So if we play bishop takes rook, queen takes double question mark, fork. Now, he can take the bishop or take this rook. I think this is all wrong. So I think bishop takes rook is incorrect. I think if we remove the defender of the rook, now we're threatening business. We're getting rid of this guy, and he's got a hanging rook. And he doesn't have a way really, he doesn't have a way to move his rook. Like, he cannot play rook to b3, which is over here, because bishop would just take rook. If he plays rook to d3, we play knight takes rook. If he goes rook to e4, after I take this, then so what? I could simply play bishop to a4. You have nothing here. So it looks like bishop takes knight, removing the defender of this rook, is vicious. Now he could, let me see, bishop takes knight, rook checks here, queen takes rook, queen takes bishop. He's got that. That's losing. That doesn't work. But let's double check. Again, bishop takes rook, knight takes bishop, and he is out of danger. And you have squandered a tremendous opportunity. So this move is definitely a loser. All right? I already screwed up and clicked on the knight move that I knew was no good. I'm going to show you this one is no good. See? I told you. I mean, I already ruined the beautiful picture aspect of what's going on. So I wanted to show you that was wrong. Okay? This is the winning move. Bishop takes knight. And this is how you do it in your brain with visualization. We just want to look through the basic moves, look for the best response. Now, you do have to be able to figure out the best response, and that does have a direct relation to your rating or your chess ability, okay? It's easier for me. I have 55 plus years of chess playing experience, so that's not a surprise, duh. Okay, you know, it's like finding out that, you know, if you ever stood next to a professional basketball player, they're really tall. They don't, you know, you get used to seeing them, and then it's like, okay, you know, and you see like for example, I'm not talking like someone like Shaq who's a monster. I mean, he's just huge, right? I'm saying like Steph Curry. You see Steph Curry, oh, he looks like a normal sized guy. You're like, hi. He's probably about that much taller than me, okay? Almost a whole head. And it's like, wow, on a TV, you look kind of like a midget. You know, that's one of those things. You know, there's some things that will, you know, not surprising. But that's the deal. So we just went through, I showed you all the moves that didn't work that looked reasonable, like knight d3, bishop takes rook. All of those are double question mark moves. Find the blunder and don't play it. That's what my dad said. And then it leaves us bishop takes knight. Now, I had honed in like this, as you would expect. All right? As far as you're concerned, one of the ways to think of me is that I would be a chess professor. All right? So you go into science class and have a professor. Those guys are awesome. I know. I had many science classes. I was a science, you know, guy in college, double major, science and math. I had a lot of experience with a lot of doctors of chemistry and physics and also mathematics. And, you know, those professors, they're freaking good, man. All right. Let me see what is up here. Well, we have a raging attack against this king, obviously. He's threatening to lessen the amount of pieces. Bishop takes bishop, king takes. He's not winning per se, except that he's up. What? We got 2 minors. He's got 4. He's got 2 minor pieces more than us. 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 1 pawn for 2 minor pieces. We're losing badly. Now, this looks like a relatively easy win, but I could be wrong. It has happened before. Aha! It is an easy win, but you got to see something that a lot of people don't see. All right? That's what makes chess difficult. So pause the video, see if you can take a shot. You know, give yourself 2 to 5 minutes. See if you can figure out what's going on here. And I will be back for you in 3, 2, 1. Now, I'm sure like myself, and all 3 of these moves are essentially the same. You saw this, this, or this. These are all the same value. In this case, this is rare. These don't have any difference at all. They're all exactly the same. They check the king, and what happens is this bishop is semi-loose. And when I say semi-loose, what I mean is that it's protected by 1 piece and 1 piece only, with no chance of any other help. So we want to check him X, Y, or Z. Doesn't really matter. Queen to d4 would technically, of the 3, I would say be the most accurate move. Sometimes it's really esoteric, but I think this is the more threatening move, I guess we would put it. You don't want to go here because he can block this pawn. If you go, now they're all the same in the basic sense, but there is a difference. You don't want to go e4 or f4 to check this guy if that's the move, because he has this move to block you. So we want to prevent the obvious blockage. Now he has this move to block us as well, but there's something about this I'm going to show you. So did you see that queen to d4 check is the best move? Yeah, either you did or you didn't. Now, if you saw e4 or f4, those are like half credit. You're on the correct idea, but you probably missed this move as a killer. It's winning for white, actually. And that's the difference between winners, draw, I want to say drawers, but that sounds stupid, right? And losers. You got to play the most accurate move. This is the most accurate move, I'm telling you. Because I saw this move. And this is a toughie. You're like, oh man, here's the deal. You might be able to figure it out. You will figure out easier if you play queen d4 and then play c4. I saw this in visualization, and I've got him. He's crushed here. All right? And the visualization you have to see, well, I don't say have to see, but at my level, what I see was queen d4 check, c4, really a pain in the butt move. What do? Oh, this bishop is pinned by this bishop. I'm just going to take this. I'm going to go check, c4, queen takes check, and checkmate. What are you going to do now, Bobby Fischer? Outstanding. That's the move you have to see. Not super difficult, but challenging for sure. Okay? If you saw queen d4 check and then queen takes c4, dude, that's fantastic. You're getting better. And it's not an easy move to spot. Ah, oh, brother, what do we do here? Son of a Farik. Man, I'm telling you. It's not really enough. So what's going on? We are even in material. We have a couple of ideas here. What's he trying to do to me? Right now, the answer is not much, but he does have this check, which is a really annoying move. Okay? So, ideas that come to mind: bishop takes knight, queen takes bishop, queen takes pawn. You're threatening a checkmate. After you take this, you're threatening this. It's not a checkmate. Yeah, we're threatening something. Okay, take a pawn. It's inconvenient. That's not the best move. Bishop takes knight is not the best move. You also have this threat, which is a skewer of queen and king. Unfortunately, it doesn't win by itself, because what's going to happen, if you play bishop to h6, he's going to play knight to g5, check, and as my dad would say, what are you going to do now, Bobby Fischer? And this is it. This is the question. In visualization, you're sitting here in a tournament game, you know, like I would see the Masters doing this, or a variation thereof. This, you know, whatever. For me, it's like, tournament face here. What am I doing? I'm going, if I go bishop to h6, maybe he won't, maybe I'll get lucky and he won't see that it's skewering his queen and his king. He'll go king to b1, I'll take his queen. That's not going to happen. Okay. So get off the craziness. Bishop h6, he's going to play knight to g5 check. Now, can I play like queen takes knight and then take his queen? Well, the answer is no, because he would just play pawn captures queen and you're screwed. So bishop h6, knight g5 check. It's like, ooh, what do I do here? I got to move my, if I move my king, you know, then he can just move his rook, and I'm no longer, see, I have this knight pinned by the bishop to the rook. And if he checks me, I'm like, you stink. This is the difficult question. So if bishop h6 is your move, he's going to play knight to g5 check. The question for you is, what are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? That's what my dad would say. So pause the video, take 2 to 5 minutes, and I'll be back with the answer to that killer question in 3, 2, 1. This is the thing that separates me like from a lot of the other guys. You know, and there's some great guys who do videos, like Grandmaster Igor Smirnov is really good. And I like his videos. He doesn't do what I do, but he does. He is like a chess professor, okay? But he's a little more clinical, okay? He's a little less rah, you know, have fun. My dad taught me that if you're good at chess, you're going to have some fun. And you see that here in these videos. The fun element of chess is very, very repressed, okay? Even by, you know, Grandmaster Igor himself. He's really good, seems like a really nice guy, you know, he has a phenomenal accent, okay? Just phenomenal English speaker, but with an accent, it just sounds so awesome. Just a tremendous player. But he doesn't have the zing, you know, the zing of what my dad would do when my dad would play. And no one enjoyed playing chess more than my father, let me tell you that. So the answer is bishop h6, knight to g5, check, in your face. And the answer is bishop takes knight. What? Yeah, see, you're not going to skewer this queen. You're not going to win this. You're going to win this rook. Bishop h6, knight g5 check, bishop takes. Well, if he wants to play queen takes, we trade queens to remove the liability of the hanging queen. Queen takes queen, pawn takes queen, bishop takes rook, king takes, rook d8, and you're going to win this bishop too. This is the move. This is the crushing response. And then trade queens, like I said, that's what he wants to do. It's a mistake, but that's his mistake. And then chop suey. Outstanding. This is the element that even someone who I tell you is a great teacher of chess, and that would be Grandmaster Igor Smirnov, I'm way more fun than he is. That's just the way it is, okay? That's the way it is. And I want to tell you the way that I proved it is, I do it in these videos obviously, but the thing I haven't really said recently is that when, you know, my family went to my father's funeral, and you know, it was really super sad, right? My brother, he was just like, he was almost crying because he couldn't take it, you know, he just couldn't handle it. He wrote down this whatever, and I'm like, I was thinking about it the whole time we were on the trip going up. You know, I'm in Texas. They were, you know, my dad was buried in Arkansas near my grandparents, and I was debating what should I do. I mean, I'm the oldest male child, and so I knew I was going to say something. And so, like, you know, my brother wanted to go, and he had his prepared thing, and he barely made it. And I was like, when I saw my brother, I said, no. He made the decision for me. My decision was going to be, was I going to be serious, or was I going to have fun? And my dad liked fun. So what I did is I told a few stories, not too long, probably 10 or 15 minutes, to you know, the family that was there. Some of them hadn't seen him in a while, and they didn't know any of these stories I told them. Man, I made people in the cold of February. It wasn't super cold, but you know, 35 degrees or whatever. And I made those people laugh at a funeral. That speaks for itself. I mean, I literally made people laugh at a funeral. And I'm the only person that I've ever seen do that, because I told stories about my dad that were fun, because that's the way he lived. And you're seeing the chess videos that I make because he is the inspiration. And he created What Are You Gonna Do Now, Bobby Fischer. So that's the deal. That's the zing that I bring. Hey, I didn't even plan that. It just happens. Okay, and that's the other thing, is that, I had some minor acting training when I was a kid, and it was, easy for me. And I'm a great speaker, and I'm improv all the time. And the most difficult comedy in the world to do is improvisation with no script. That's what separates the men from the boys. And the thing is so difficult that even the masters of improv comedy do not always get a laugh. That's the deal. The whole point of improv comedy is that you don't need a script. You take the situation off the cuff, and hey, sometimes you're going to make some funny stuff. Like, that's the zing that I bring. It just, that happens, okay? And then there's other things you're like, hey, you got to take chances. But that's the things when it works, dude, it's so awesome. So there you go. That's one little bonus story about my father. Okay. What in the heck are we doing? Why, you? Okay, so what's going on? What's he trying to do to me? Now, I don't think he has a real threat. He has got this. I mean, he's technically threatening queen or pawn takes free knight. Okay, whatever. So the thing is, this knight is hanging. Our knight's hanging. His knight's also hanging. Now, I can play queen takes free knight. It's not really free, because he's going to play either queen takes or pawn takes, whichever one floats his boat. Okay? So that's not the move. Queen takes knight is not the move. And, if you thought, well, it looks a little too obvious, it is. Okay? So that's good. This is your, if you thought that kind of thinking, that queen takes knight is not the move, that is your spidey senses developing, and they develop over time. It was real funny. I saw a video, and I think it was Yasser Seirawan, former U.S. champion in the 80s. And I think he actually said, he was looking at something, and it's like he knew it was wrong. And he mentioned spidey senses. It's like, that's the reason why Stan Lee was called Stan the Man. That's a reference to Stan Lee and Spider-Man, which is fantastic. So queen takes knight's not the move. The spidey senses are like, nah, no. So we need to, and now, if we can move this to some value, well, then maybe we have something. And I'm thinking, and now this is an experience thing. I know what to do here from experience. All right? You don't have that experience. I have 55 years of chess playing experience, and I won a lot of tournaments back in the 80s. So I've won literal tournaments over 40 years ago. I've been a good player for a very long time. So it's not fair to compare your experience to my experience. It's not even close. All right? But think about this. Pause the video. Take a shot. It's kind of difficult. You may not get it. Don't feel bad. This is an experience thing, and my experience is way up here. So I'll be back in 3, 2, 1. The move that comes to mind, and I haven't analyzed this yet, is knight takes f2. Well, that's kind of a crazy move. Why would you do that? Well, the thing is this. Let's look at the straight version. There's also a desperado version. There's two versions we have to analyze. This is the experience factor coming in. You never hear anybody tell you about this. So we're going to go sacrifice here. Now, one of the lessons of sacrifices is the guy doesn't have to take it sometimes. This is one of those times. Knight takes f2. He doesn't have to take it. Well, let's just assume he takes it. Knight takes f2. Rook takes f2. Bishop takes f2. Check. King takes queen takes. What does this give us? We give up knight and bishop for rook, pawn, and knight. We're winning a rook for this bishop, a rook and this f-pawn for this bishop. So knight takes f2, exclamation. He really should not take this with his rook. And he doesn't have to take it. He can counter that with either knight takes f7 or bishop takes f7 check. We have to, you know, time for some tournament face. And this is what you do when you play chess tournaments. You play this, you know, the people watching the game see knight takes f2, and then whatever happens, they're like, oh, wow, you know, that was really good by whomever's playing. In this case, it's myself, okay? They don't think, well, okay, you did that, blah, blah, blah. Well, what if he doesn't take it? What if he doesn't take knight takes f2? What if he plays knight takes f7? Well, I can take his queen. Now it becomes desperado. I can take his queen. He can take my queen. Oh, I'm sorry. You can't take my queen. Because if he doesn't take the knight, I get to play knight takes queen. Check! Whoops. He has to take the pawn, doesn't he? I mean, the knight. If I play this, and he plays bishop takes f7, I mean, the first move, let's look at the first move. If I go knight takes f2, and he responds knight takes f7, double question mark, kaboom, with a check discovered from the bishop. So that's losing for white. So if I play knight takes f2, knight takes f7 is double question mark. Okay, well, Bobby Fischer, knight takes f2, bishop takes check. Rook takes like this. Rook takes. And then it's like, oh, okay. I don't care. I don't care. He takes knight takes rook. It's the same thing. Knight takes queen. Check. That's how it works. Okay, this is desperado. Now, I did and this is actually relatively recently when I was going through desperados. But back when I was younger, I would just chess brain the desperado through using my chess muscles. Well, my chess muscle. I would just do this in my brain, okay? But then a couple of months ago, I was like, you know, as a science-trained guy, we need to look at the structure of desperados. And so I analyzed the structure of the desperado. And what's difficult is there is no like concrete structure. Like if you look at a tree, there's the trunk, these are the branches, and the leaves would be off the fingers, right? There is no physical structure of the desperado. It's all a mental construct. It's take and take and take. And it's a, you know, if you actually wrote it out, you could make a diagram that would look like a tree. You know, knight takes f2, knight takes f2, bishop takes f2 over here. You know, knight goes to f6 here. And you could do this in order to make it look like, and each tree would have a little branch out. Each little limb would have a branch out, okay? But I dialed it back and said, what is it that makes you win? I know what it is by playing it, but then I realized I need to identify and describe it. And the thing about the desperado that makes you win the desperado, whoever wins it, is won by an in-between move. It's usually a capture or a check or a capture with check or sidestepping at the right moment to create a threat that wins material or threatens a checkmate. So there's all kinds of different kinds of in-between moves. The in-between move that crushes in this position is the threat that black has of playing in-between move, knight takes queen, check. That check is a devastator. So like I said, my experience of 55 plus years since my dad taught me is knight takes f2. He's screwed, okay? He is screwed here. There's nothing he could do. Rook takes is the best move. Bishop checks, king takes, queen takes knight. So h3 double question mark is a horrible move. Outstanding. Now, the hilarious part is I don't even have to take this rook directly. I am going to do it because he would play d4. This is the best move. And this is the best move. Now he still can play d4 with a discover attack on my queen. But, like I told you, I won the exchange from him, plus a pawn, plus destroyed his castled position. It stinks to be the white king right now. It's how I like it. Okay, so this was a great problem because it's actually more common than you would think. Now, as a scientist, the secret here, since you will assume that you're way younger than me, because almost every one of you would be, I'm sure there'll be a couple of guys of my age, 64 or higher, but you're essentially younger than me. As a scientist, the structure of this type of position with the double king pawn, castling both on the king side, is that now, at the beginning of a chess game, the weakest square on the board for white is f2, guarded only by the king, and for black it's f7, guarded only by the king. Now, but in double king pawn games here, with castling on the same side, king side, the f pawn for both is still weak. And it'll depend on position to position. The weakness here, and this was why the Italian game, or the gioco piano, is as it's called. This opening was super popular because the knight and bishop combos on f2 are just unbelievably prolific. And that's what, the experience that I have of playing chess, winning tournaments, beating chess masters, losing to them as well. It's not just you go and beat chess masters because you're the Hulk, right? Hulk smash. It doesn't work that way. You're going to play really good players like I have played. Sometimes they beat me. Sometimes I beat them. And it's like, it's Mr. Jones. Good luck. And it's like, fudge. We're both going, fudge. Man, this is going to be a tough game. One of us is going to be in trouble, okay? And it just, whoever plays better wins, right? But we both know it's like, oh, geez, dude, I have a job in front of me. Okay, so that's the deal. It's like, it's like boxing. You're going to hit the guy, he's going to hit you back, and one of you is going to hit better than the other guy, and that's what chess is. Okay, it's mental boxing. So we zip him, as my dad would say. He would see this. If my dad saw this, he would look at this. And he'd wait for the guy's response. And that's when he would know that it was over. He was like, my dad would be, he would see this move and he would be like, my dad would be standing like this. And his head would shake slightly up and down. And then the next move, then his realization in his face would be like, oh yeah, he got him. My dad was a freak in that regard as a watcher of my games. He was a freak. In the good way. It's like, dude, he would come and watch me at, when we're playing in the tournament, he's playing his game, he'd make his move and get up and come and watch me. And it's like, it wasn't annoying to me. It's like, dude, you have your own game you have to play. Play that, lose. I'm just joking. Play that, go ahead and lose, and then come and watch. He would laugh when I say that because that's pretty funny. But he would watch my games, and it's like there was a game I played, and I'm not going to tell the whole long story. It's a long story. It was a long game. But we played this, U.S. Open when it was here in Texas. And in one of the rounds, I played this other master from Maryland. And got to a theoretically drawn-in game. He had rook and bishop against I had rook. And it's a draw if you know what you're doing. And knowing that it's a draw, you have the inspiration to find the right moves. And I played it perfectly, or as close to perfect as was needed anyway. And that game lasted 10 hours. I am literally not joking. And the tournament director or assistant tournament director, one of the two, I don't remember exactly, because in a tournament of U.S. Open, they have tournament director, head tournament director, and then 6 or whatever, 8, 10 assistant directors because there's just so many people there, right? And so the tournament director shows up and it's like, well, you know, you guys could adjourn this and come and play tomorrow. Now, I was 22 years old. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm 22. This other dude's 50-ish, plus or minus. He could have been, you know, 55. He could have been upper 40s. I don't know. But I know that I have a 20 to 25 year age advantage, and I'd be an idiot to let him, you know, off the hook physically. He felt that he was going to kick my young butt, and I felt I am going to grind your old butt into the dirt. So both of us were like, nah, we're good. So we played it. And my dad was there, and you know, after we finished this game, I don't even remember what happened to my dad's game. It's like, and I said, you know, the game started at 7 in the evening, finished 5 o'clock in the morning. All right. I told my dad, just go to sleep. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. It's not a big deal. And he's like, I'm like, oh, man, what a freak. That's my dad. He was a freak. He was like, he was going to watch that. And, you know, maybe he was smart in regard of that if he's watching, he knows that I have to be careful so that, you know, I don't look like an idiot. And I ended up drawing the game with that guy, and that was the deal. But that was my dad. He stayed up and watched every part of that dadgum 10-hour long game, and then most of it was endgame. All right, what do we have here? 3 minor pieces for us. He's got 3. He's a rook ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a pawn for a rook. Yippee. Go us. Okay. So what's going on? Well, obviously we can't play the stupid move. That's a stupid move. You're down in material. You generally don't want to exchange material unless you have a positional just trump card that you're going to play. And we don't have that, so we're not doing it. We have another move we can play. Check here. Irrelevant. He'll simply play. The best move he can play is this, bishop f6. Obvious. Okay. Now, we don't want to play moves that allow him to block. He's got an extra piece. Blocking is his friend. We want to play stuff like maybe this move. Unblockable moves. Knight to e5 check. What are you going to do, Bobby Fischer? Because now this queen becomes a fence queen. We have a g-file fence, a dark diagonal fence, and so he has to go back to either f8 or g6. If he goes to g6, queen takes check, and it's not a checkmate. Yeah, it's a checkmate on the next move. So knight e5 check, king e8 double question mark, queen takes rook check, bishop f8, queen f7 is checkmate. All right. So I can see that there's a potential checkmate if he makes a mistake. Hey, stranger stuff has happened, bro. Let me tell you. It's not that far-fetched that he makes a mistake and doesn't play. He has to play king to f6. It's forced. You see that now, okay? And this is how you win games. I win games here inside of my head. Chess brain is your ultimate weapon, all right? So let's look at this. Knight e5 check, king f8. Now we can play, for example, queen h6 check. This is the toughie. What do we do? Here check, king to f8. If we play queen to f6 check, h6 check, he can block it with the rook. Now the key thing is, all right, knight checks. See, for myself, for the advanced guys, I'm not going to play the move because I want you to do this the way I'm doing it. Knight e5 check. And if you're a little bit weaker, I'll do it so you can see it. If you want to pause the video here and use this to help you, okay, fine, whatever. Or if you want to create your own position and on a separate board to look at, that's fine too, whatever. Knight e5 check. Here's the thinking. Knight e5 check, king f8 forced. Queen to h6 check. If he blocks it with rook g7, we have queen h8 check. And now he has to go back, rook g8, and then bishop swoops in, h6. So you got a knight here. Now the knight creates a light square fence on f7 and g6. It gets complicated, all right? There's no two ways about this. So knight e5 check, king f8, queen h6 check, the only good check. Again, we don't want to go on the f-file. He's just going to block it with the bishop. So knight e5 check, king f8, queen h6 check. He doesn't have another move. I mean, technically that's incorrect. He does have another move. He could play king to e8. All right? So that's true. He could do that. We can play queen to g8. Rook to f8. Because he has to defend this. Check. Bingo, check. Go king to e8. Yeah, he sure can. Queen to h7 threatens a checkmate and also threatens a rook. So he needs to play rook to f8 to stop the checkmate. But we play bishop swoops in again to h6, threatening to go now queen to h8 check, because if he goes and blocks it, actually it's not that bad, right? Oh, no. No, bishop h8 hits the rook. He's got a problem. Yeah, this guy's getting smoked here. This is smoking him. And the smoke move is this move. This threatens the checkmate here, threatens to take his rook. So what's happening is that we use the momentum of check. We played knight checks, unblockable, forced him to go back to f8. We played queen check, not technically unblockable, but if he blocks it, we win with queen h8 check. Only move is rook g8, and then bishop h6 check is crushing. He has to go back, king e8, queen takes rook is check. Bishop comes over, queen takes f8 is a checkmate. So if he blocks, it's a forced checkmate, all right? So let's go look at this again. Unblockable check with the knight. What by chess brain doing the work, this is an unblockable check by the queen. He has to go to e8, which he did. And I told you, I figured out he was going to do that. And now I'm going to hit him with queen to h7. We used two checks to move him to e8 because everything else lost by a checkmate or a free rook and possible check, whatever. It was actually both of those were checkmate combinations. They ended in checkmate either way if he plays any other move. So he played the only moves that don't directly lose. Queen h7, threatening a checkmate, threatening to take this rook. He can't take my pawn because I checkmate him on f7. So queen h7. These moves are super forcing. He has to play rook f8, and then we swoop in with bishop to h6, and he is smoking dead. Well, that just loses, dummy. This goes back to the variation of if he blocked before. Now, pardon me, he's trying to trick us, okay? That's quite a clever move. Oh, actually, forget that. I was going to check him. I'm going to screw you. I'm just going to take your free rook. Queen takes free rook. My dad would shake my hand, and he was like, "Oh boy, that was good." This is why this kind of position here that you saw, this is why my dad was a freak who would watch my games, because he wanted to see how I would stand up to some of the master players that we met and not knew. And my dad talked to everybody. I mean, my dad would talk to now some guys. One of the things about high-ranking chess players, and this is not a universal thing, but a lot of those guys are very introverted and almost afraid to talk to people. I know that sounds weird, but some of them are jerks. Some of them are introverted. Some of them, just avoid conversation. My dad talked to everybody, at least, if they would talk. And so he would talk to guys, and it was like, oh, wow, oh, that guy's a nice guy, blah, blah, blah. You know, he's not intimidated. Well, that guy's 2,400. There was a guy, he was my dad liked him because he was a really good player, super nice guy, Greek. He had a Greek name, so he was either of Greek descent directly or, you know, half Greek, half something else. But that guy was super nice. I beat him one time. He beat me every other time. So just one of those things that was really great.